Hi everyone, my name is Natasha Westover and welcome to Accounted International. Today I'm joined by Andrew Kirby and once again we're talking about anxiety. We have another video which we've already posted on triggers of anxiety, but today we're going to talk about examples in our lives, in our careers, of how anxiety has actually manifested itself in our work. And once again, Andrew and I are finance professionals. We are used to leading, mentoring, coaching, and working in the finance and business field. We are not medical people, we are not mental health experts, but we do recognize that anxiety has played a role in our careers and in people around us at work. So we think it's really important to still talk about this. So today it's how anxiety manifests itself in our jobs, and Andrew is going to kick us off as always.
Thanks. I think one of the things that we found with anxiety is it is all-consuming. It tends to be thoroughly overwhelming, and that can have an impact on all aspects of your life. One of the things that I found is that when feeling anxious and under pressure and stressed with work, I find myself waking up increasingly early, and the first thought that comes into my head is the underlying pressures from work. So be that multiple deadlines, be that an undelivered piece of work, an impending sort of deadline. That tends to be the first thing that comes into your head, and that's not a good place to be, because if you're finding that issue is the last thing you're thinking about when you go to sleep and the first thing you're thinking about when you wake up, and it sort of consumes a good amount of energy during the day, then obviously you're not in a good place. So I think for me, having sleep related issues manifest themselves is absolutely a sign that something isn't right in terms of my sort of mental balance, and consequently that that interference with my sleep patterns and being the trigger for me waking up or not getting to sleep results in fatigue. And generally all the symptoms that go with fatigue, so sort of headaches and feeling generally lethargic and unmotivated to do anything about it. You find yourself in a bit of a spiral physically. You don't necessarily want to take exercise, and that compounds the problem. So I think that's definitely a manifestation is that general lethargy that you get from lack of sleep and lack of exercise, and I guess the emotional wearing down that the anxiety gives you. And then I guess finally my third point would be that as a consequence of all of the above, you find yourself retreating, becoming more and more quiet and insular, not participating at work, not participating at home, not able to enjoy time with friends and family. So I think that's another one that I notice in myself, is I become increasingly withdrawn from social and work sort of scenarios that will just add to the anxiety, I guess. So I mean, how do you feel on those?
Yeah, very similar actually. When you were talking about becoming really quiet and retreating, how that really looks in my life is I start just avoiding my email, any messages on my phone. I just have this feeling of dread And the anxiety is I don't know what's in that email, I don't know what's in that message, and I don't know what I'm going to have to do, and can I cope with it? That's really how it escalates for me. So yeah, just any form of communication I retreat from. Less so in just talking to people face to face, which I think that's what you were referring to. But mine was the ones that are more easily avoidable, of not picking up the phone when someone calls, or seeing a message from someone at work and just not clicking on it to find out what they want. So that's how I retreat. But that's how it looks for me. And definitely lots of physical things for me. I actually get dizzy spells when I get anxious. And definitely my habits change. Whereas you talk about waking up early, I actually sleep more. Um, and in the past, I have seen a nutritionist who's talked about sort of my adrenals, and my adrenals sort of go out of control when I feel overwhelmed and anxious. Um, so I exhaust my body really fast, and I can feel that. So I'm much less active because I've got dizzy spells, and because I'm exhausted, I do less exercise. And so it just turns into this cycle of like this downward spiral. And I know it and I feel it. And I know I'm not doing any exercise this week. I'm sleeping more, but it doesn't feel like good sleep. I don't feel refreshed from sleep. I think that's a big one, waking up after lots of sleep and not feeling refreshed. So that's really how it manifests itself in my life. It's definitely very similar to yours, some physical attributes with some feeling of, dread and anxiety towards interacting with people, be it face to face or online or on your phone. Do you have anything else to add?
No, absolutely. I think that exhaustion is absolutely, that kicks in. Your duvet becomes your best friend. You're not that fussed about eating. You're not that fussed about exercise. You're not. I think I think that's a common theme with most people that encounter anxiety.
Yeah, and it's very easy when you don't feel refreshed and you feel like you're hanging out on your sofa a lot more with the duvet. It's very easy to think I've got the flu, like to assign it to I must just feel a bit under the weather. And that's become very confusing for me at times, especially when I first start again, dizzy spells. Um, I honestly thought I had some kind of bug, and it was a process for me to find out that it was actually to do with anxiety. So yeah, and then it was like something else on the list. And that's really important to say, is that what looked like anxiety 10 years ago for me doesn't look like anxiety today. It changes. And so the best thing I would say to any of my friends really is, stay vigilant about any little illnesses, any feelings. I think you've mentioned it before, either in this video and the other video, where you have that sick feeling in your stomach. All those feelings, just try and keep it as that trigger of, this is information, and what is it trying to tell me? I think that's like an all-encompassing statement to make. But thank you guys for listening. Thank you for your time, and we'll see you in the next video.